AKUTAMI Gege has done a fantastic job writing JJK Modulo overall. The themes, the characters, the story and setting, all of it has been great. But there are a few glaring issues, as every story has, but in particular, one of the issues Gege has really done to an extreme harmony technique. Or I should say exactly the chaos and harmony, but specifically we're focusing on the harmony aspect of the chaos and harmony. I'm not going to skip a beat. What I'm talking about is that this is a plot device, this is a deus ex machina in every sense of the definition, in every sense of the word. And of course, leave a like on the video as we're starting out and subscribe for JJK Modulo content, but let's just start with this, right? Before I even start with this, because a lot of people often they hear criticism, they often hear things against Gege, and this tends to happen because there are a lot of strong haters for Gege, so because of this, it naturally makes a lot of strong defenders who defend everything Gege can do and say he can do no wrong. I want to stay from the beginning, I love JJK Modulo, I love Gege AKUTAMI, he's a fantastic author, but nobody is above criticism, no story is above criticism, nor is Gege. Does this mean JJK Modulo is bad? Of course not. It's a great story overall, but it has some glaring issues that I'll be talking about in a video tomorrow. Today I'm focusing on one aspect of it, the harmony and chaos technique, specifically like I said before, the harmony part. Now the first thing I need to do is talk about this plot device and deus ex machina. What is this? Because actually when I've said it's either of these things before, people have said, whether it's on Twitter or the comments of my YouTube video, this is not the case, it's not either of these, why are you saying this? And often when I ask people why is there not any of these cases, there is no response. They just say, oh, you're a hater. The unfortunate truth is, like, I don't want to say this either, it is both of them, but to answer that I unfortunately have to explain what they both are because people only know some vague ideas of what they are. People don't know what they actually are. So here we have the definition of a plot device. A plot device is any technique, object or event in a narrative used to advance the story, drive action or break a stalemate. While essentially for moving plots forward they can feel contrived, like deus ex machina or a random convenient coincidence, not naturally woven into the story. And I got this straight from Google as well, and there's different examples of it. You know, there's a red herring, Chekhov's gun, MacGuffin, all of these are very famous, you know, a flashback, flash forward, and of course a deus ex machina. I think it's best to just get it from Google itself because it explains it very simply and well, and I don't want to make a 10-minute video just explaining what these are as well. It's easier to just do it like this. Now if we look on Google again, what is the definition of a deus ex machina? A deus ex machina is a plot device where an unsolvable, hopeless or complicated situation in fiction is suddenly and abruptly resolved by an unexpected, improbable or contrived intervention. Now it doesn't perfectly fit the explanation of a deus ex machina, but the best way I can explain it is it's like a convenient deus ex machina that was introduced in the beginning and always exists. But the most accurate thing to call chaos and harmony is genuinely a plot device. Maybe it doesn't fit perfectly into any of the examples I said. Really it fits into a deus ex machina the most, like 80% of it, but it fits into other points as well. There's so many examples of plot devices, but in any case I hope at least this can clear it up so we all know what it is. Plot device, you know, it's just something that is used to advance the story. It's just basically incredibly convenient and it's incredibly contrived and very, very lazy. That's the main point of it. It's basically not good writing. A plot device always does exist. This is the most interesting thing. It doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. Plot devices always exist, but there's a difference between there being a good plot device and a badly written one that's lazy, or one that's basically forced to just drive the narrative forward. By definition, all of the examples I mentioned, all the things I mentioned, even a plot device itself isn't bad. It's not just bad in itself, because I know I don't want to get people to get confused by that, but that's my main point if you get what I'm trying to say. Now, how does this fit into chaos and harmony? Well, it's the fact that this technique genuinely just exists to push the story forward. Let's say the aliens exist on their home planet where technology is not that advanced, different from what we thought before. Their planet seems to be more tribal, things aren't really that crazy, even just making a dam or a river is pretty difficult. Now, how do the aliens manage to leave their home planet? Did somebody make maybe something amazing, a breakthrough in science, or how do they solve this problem of leaving their planet? How did the author get the aliens from point A to B, B being A? Well, let's just say the harmony technique was the key to that. Yes, the Muru minerals are important and that's a big part of it, but the Muru minerals are not exactly what just made the spaceship. It's made out of them and it helps, but at the end of the day, it comes from the harmony technique. Even Nobara at the current chapter 23 said, we need your technique, you know, can your technique take us back to the home planet? It is specifically the harmony and chaos technique from Maru and Cross, which was said in the story itself that it's only because of them, not just the special material, that this happened. Now you're probably thinking, how did the aliens find Earth in this vast universe, like an actual universe-sized thing? Well, let's just say that harmony technique has a universal range. Yes, a universal range, the size of a universe, where in the JJK universe, even something like a kilometer is seen as basically godlike. Let's just say across the universe, not only did this technique, the harmony, wasn't responsible for making the ship, but it actually is responsible for being like a homing beacon. This one, out of everything I'll say, it is very convenient given its fucking range of being a universal size technique. Like the harmony, that's probably the biggest deus ex machina here, but we've seen the harmony technique in the first chapter was used to find the brothers and sisters Tsurugi and Yuka. Like, it was used there. I don't deny that this technique exists, and maybe could even be worked at like maybe a city level, which already is pretty nuts, but the fact that it was used on a universal range, Mechamaru being able to use his puppets at a distance, even then, they said it needed to be somewhat close to the city that is using it, otherwise it wouldn't work. That's how they were able to pinpoint him. It's not like Mechamaru can just go to America. That would actually go outside of the range of his technique. The only reason, mind you, Mechamaru has such an insane range, being City Plus, like that's considered a genuinely godlike feat, is only due to a heavenly restriction. His heavenly restriction is what gave him this City Plus level range. Other than that, he wouldn't have been able to do that normally. A literal heavenly restriction had to do that. Yet Maru has a range affecting the whole universe. The problem isn't the harmony technique being used to find somebody that's in harmony. The problem is the sheer range of the technique, and the problem is how convenient it is to find whatever you want. It literally, and I'll explain this for the Yuji part, is used to just force interactions and force places to go where they need to be. For example, the spaceship being made, already a plot device, because that is such a massive challenge that the aliens need to overcome. If Gege, let's say, wasn't, and I say this very respectfully, lazy, like this harmony whole thing, and I'll destroy this whole lazy anti-argument at the conclusion, but just for now, understand what I'm saying. It's very lazy what he's doing. In an actual story where challenges are introduced, you often have heroes come up with unique or creative ideas to come against those challenges that occur. That being, for example, how we're going to leave this home planet. Fair enough. Harmony ended up creating the spaceship, whatever. How did you find the home planet? Harmony was just a beacon that got there. That's great as well. I mean, pretty insane. Like, it's literally a plot device forcing the aliens to leave the planet, forcing them to find Earth. Things that would have been monumental challenges before, but let's just continue. Now, how did 50,000 aliens communicate with 8 billion humans on planet Earth? Ah, yes, of course, my harmony technique that I haven't used since the Sumerian alien planet. That is what ended up being able to communicate 50,000 people subconsciously. It is affecting 8 billion people, a planetary range, literal humanity level technique of affecting all humans. Even when Maru and Cross are not there, or they're sleeping, or in a different country or something, the aliens can still talk with humans. It's not even like they need to be around. It is actively working all the time. How is that possible? Where is the cursed energy coming from to have a worldwide effect and affect all these people? That is nuts. That is nuts. How the hell does that come into definition of harmony? This is another problem I have. You can excuse anything possible as harmony. Oh, this person's depressed, I'm gonna make them happy by finding the harmony there. Oh, we don't know how to beat this incredibly complex problem. Harmony finds the solution. You know what? Let me just name everything that goes down in the story from start to end. How are the aliens gonna build a spaceship to leave their home planet on an underdeveloped planet? Harmony technique. How are the aliens gonna find planet Earth across the vast universe? The harmony technique. How are the aliens, 50,000, gonna communicate with 8 billion people? Yeah, that's the harmony technique. It can do that. How are Yuji and Maru basically going to even remove cursed energy from the world? Something that took Yuki decades and she couldn't do. Something that took Kenjaku thousands of years and he couldn't optimize cursed energy. Something that Geto had tried for a decade and couldn't do. How is Maru, who literally a 19-year-old who came up with this idea minutes ago, how is he going to accomplish something that sorcerers before him have tried for thousands of years? Harmony technique, you know, the harmony does it. How are Yuji and Maru even going to meet? How is Maru going to get everything he needs that he needs? How is he even going to know what to do? The harmony tells him what to do. The harmony tells me who to find. We need Mahito. I can find him. I need Yuji, who I've never met. Yep, the harmony tells me I need this guy. Where do I get everything I need? The harmony technique. How are Yuji and Mahito going to go to the afterlife? The fucking afterlife. Yeah, the harmony technique can transfer us to the afterlife temporarily of our bodies. How are we going to get Mahito back into regaining his strength? The harmony technique can do that, of course. Like, it regained his strength. An after effect of my technique managed to do that. Now, this is the craziest of all of them. This is fucking nuts, by the way. How are Yuji and Maru going to change the souls of everything and fix everything? We are going to literally edit the passage of souls for humanity. All of humanity. Every human, not just Japan. Edit the passage of souls, and every person thereafter that dies and goes forward for the rest of time, we will literally alter the shape of their soul, alter the color of their soul, and randomize. How are we going to do that to the afterlife? How are we going to literally remodel the afterlife? Harmony technique. Of course, the harmony technique can affect the cycle of reincarnation and the souls of people who are passing on for every human that will exist therefore and thereafter, even if Maru isn't aware of it. Are you joking? Are you actually joking? Like, are you kidding? Do you realize this literally exists as a lazy way to solve things that would have taken 10, 20, 30 chapters for each of these problems, or would have had complex answers to them? Literally just does harmony technique. Basically, Gege wants to write a story, but there are big issues that come in the middle of everything. For example, how are the humans going to communicate with aliens? It's a different language, right? Harmony technique. How do they get a spaceship? Harmony technique. How are we going to literally just remove cursed energy from the world? Are we going to do something complex like Yuki or Kenjaku or Geto? They couldn't even do it. Harmony technique tells them everything they need to do. Harmony technique allows them to edit the afterlife. Harmony technique allows them to go to the afterlife. afterlife. The harmony technique allows even Maru to find everybody he needs. The harmony technique allows him to find Mahito. The harmony technique allows him to do everything. It's nuts. It's genuinely nuts. Everything I just listed should have been hard, difficult challenges that should actually push the characters, that should allow them to think in unique ways, that should push them. You know, these should be actual complex plot things that they need to go through. But Gege just wants to basically write a story, and because he doesn't want to think this complex, or like he really just doesn't want to make a challenge, he's like, yeah, I'm going to introduce a technique that can do literally everything that fills in the holes of the plots. Imagine you were writing JJK Modulo, right? Let's say you were the one writing. Gege is a fantastic author. I'm not saying he's a bad author, but I'm saying he's cut corners to an unholy degree. That's my biggest problem. It's like, let's say you were writing it and you think, okay, how are the aliens going to get from here to here? How are they going to communicate with humans? You know what? How is Yuji and Maru even going to do all this? How is Maru even going to meet Yuji? How is Maru going to edit the afterlife? How is he going to remove cursed energy and stop cursed spirit? How are they going to do all this? You know what? I'm just going to introduce a technique that skips all of the hard part, everything that's difficult, skip it, and just literally progresses the plot with things that I can't be bothered to actually solve. That's what the harmony technique is. It is nuts to me. Like, people genuinely, with a straight face, tell me, like in my comment section on Twitter, that this isn't a plot device, or isn't Deus Ex Machina. I know it doesn't exactly fit Deus Ex Machina. As a matter of fact, it's genuinely worse. Like, at least if with Deus Ex Machina, if there's like some unexpected or like divine intervention or something like that, like with Deus Ex Machina normally is, at least that would, like, I could at least make that make sense for one of these things. The problem is harmony is used for everything. It's used for everything. Like, dude, Nobara finding the black rope is not something he did before, but just suddenly with his harmony, like, conveniently he could do it at this time to, like, say Nobara fuck off this planet and get away. Yeah, of course, the harmony did it in an instant when the plot required it, but couldn't do it during, like, the 3-4 months before all of this, just because the plot said, don't do it right now, we need to actually have conflict, because if you do this now, then everything gets solved and we don't have Nobara on the planet. Like, it's ridiculous to me. It's just lazy. It's lazy. It's so lazy, and it frustrates me when anyone says, like, this is not lazy writing, or the harmony technique is not Deus Ex Machina, or a genuine, poorly written and lazily made plot device just to move the story forward. Like, you're just wrong. By the definition of a plot device, you are completely wrong. Plot device can be a good thing. It can be a good thing. It doesn't even have to be for everything. It can be for separate things. The problem with Maru's technique, it is used for everything. Like, imagine if I was writing a new story that's not JJK, and they have magic powers, right? And let's say there's all these different countries, or a new character goes to another world. I could just, like, click my fingers and say, alright, I'm giving the main character, or some character, this technique that just anything that I don't know how to fix with my writing, I'm just gonna, you know, say this magic technique called causality or something. I'm just making that up. Or reality manipulation can just fix everything I want. Or just fill in all of the holes that normally would exist from me getting to point A, B, C, D, E. That's what basically, look at just JJK Modulo as a big story, like the bigger picture. There is an A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Like, there's a place where we go from point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The point of the aliens in the home planet, how do they get to Earth? How do they communicate? How do the aliens meet all these people? How does everyone solve the conflict? How do we get from all these points? The answer to literally every single question is harmony. All of it. It's not good. It's not good. Like, at least there could have been different things. One author I really like that doesn't do this, and I hate to compare because I know the fans are going to get in my comments, but I say this for a good way, One Piece. One Piece is something that does this in the opposite way. Like, One Piece, of course, has dozens of plot devices, but they're good ones and they're separate ones. Even with different arcs that are introduced, he often addresses them in certain ways. The best way I can say is like Skypiea. It's pretty sad because everyone skips. I think it's a very fantastic arc, especially when I was like a young child watching it. But in any case, like, for example, you go to this island and there are these dials and this and that, like, you know, different currency, different system, and it's explained in a good way how these things transfer over. These things really aren't explained well in JJK. I guess I shouldn't say explained, sorry, that's not a good way to put it, handled well. Does this mean, I want to say this at the end, that JJK is badly written or Modulo is badly written? Of course not. Please don't just say JJK Modulo is trash or this whole thing is so bad just because of a plot device. It's lazy, like, it's not good. I'm not gonna praise it, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, like, it's very lazy what Gege is doing. But is Gege suddenly a bad author? No. Is, like, the story just suddenly ruined because of this exists? No. I'm just being critical. I'm saying a part of criticism that I genuinely think is the biggest flaw in terms of writing for JJK Modulo. But does that mean I hate JJK Modulo or I'm giving it like a 2 out of 10? No, I still think JJK Modulo is a very great story, fantastic themes wrapped up beautifully, but it has its criticisms like everything does, and I'm not going to be like most of these JJK YouTubers are just people out there who glaze Gege, say he's a god and say he does nothing wrong just to, you know, praise him and praise him. You know, I don't like that, but I also don't like people who just hate on JJK and say it's garbage and the worst story ever. People like that who just call it Disney Kaisen. Both of these sides are just stupid to me. Like, the answers, of course, neither of these, but you heard my opinion. Tell me what you think in the comments down below. Maybe you disagree with me, maybe you don't agree. Tell me what you think. Maybe you do agree with me and you even have more to say. Tell me what you think then. Maybe you think it's like a different narrative device that's not a plot device but some something else entirely. Maybe you have a different criticism, let me know in the comments down below. Leave a like on the video if you did enjoy. I mean, you watched this far, a like would be appreciated, and of course subscribe, because tomorrow I got a huge video coming out tomorrow, probably close to an hour, explaining some of my issues with JJK Modulo, and also the things I think it did very well. So subscribe so you don't miss that video tomorrow. But that's all from me. Have a wonderful day, everyone, and take care, guys.